after an injury-hit 2010 season.
It was nice to win again, exactly after last year. It was a long time for me to get back on this level. It took me a lot of work. It was maybe the hardest thing in my career, getting here in a good shape. But I'm here now and I'm very happy I could complete the first stage with a victory straight away. It's good for the morale, and it shows me that all the work I've done I'm getting paid for all the work I've done. Yeah.
You're up to date with the sport. Time to hand you back now to Nick.
Guy, thanks very much indeed. Just pointing in the direction of our website, aljazeera.net/English. All the news we've been covering there, sport there too, aljazeera.net/English. So thanks for joining us here on Al Jazeera. Taimur will be here in just a moment with updates on all of our top stories. From me, Nick Clark, it's goodbye.
Hello, well, I'm pleased to say those strong winds fanning the flames of the bushfires across that southwestern corner of Australia will ease over the next couple of days. You can see we still have a fair amount of cloud, a little bit of cloud just to the south of Perth. It's not going to help as far as the fires are concerned, but as I said, at least the winds will ease down. Plenty of cloud further north. There are still some very heavy downpours to come here. Heavy downpours too just around southern parts of Queensland, just around Brisbane, northern areas of New South Wales. For the southeastern corner, here it is set fair. It generally stays dry, and if anything, our large area of high pressure through the Bight will edge its way a little further eastwards. In the process, that's when we're going to see those winds just easing for the Perth area over the next day or so. Not so as we push up towards the northwest. Heavy downpours will persist here, and some heavy rain to come too into New Zealand. We've got some rain stretching out of Australia just around the Gold Coast, pushing down into New Zealand. That will gradually make its way further northwards as we go on through Wednesday. So brighter skies coming back in behind Wellington, getting up to 18 degrees Celsius. Not too bad across Southeast Asia, but those southern areas very close to Australia, I'm afraid it does stay pretty disturbed with further spells of very heavy rain to come here. Further north into China, it is largely fine and dry, but it's sunshine and showers again for the Philippines.
Home to a diversity of rare species, Latvia's pristine woodlands are a place of magic. But with a strained economy and an eager market, forests are rapidly perishing, and with them their inhabitants. People and Power investigates how 60% of Latvia's timber ends up on UK shelves with a questionable seal of approval. Latvia's pulp fiction, at this time on Al Jazeera.
Egyptian people will be the ones who will make the change.
We are mobilizing tomorrow a mass protest from Tahrir Square.
If we decided to give in now, they will hunt us one by one.
Protesters stand their ground while Egyptian authorities do all they can to get the country back on track. And in an apparent bid to appease the protesters, Egypt's president has announced a pay rise for government workers. Hello and welcome to Al Jazeera live from Doha. I'm Taimur Nabili. Also on the programme, it's official, southern Sudan will break away from the north. And the WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has appeared in court to fight extradition to Sweden. And why America's fading internet giant hopes a $300 million deal will turn around its fortunes. Well, we begin, of course, in Egypt, where it's a little after midnight and the pro-democracy protests are still showing no signs of ending. They're now entering a 15th day. Hundreds of people have been killed in the past 2 weeks of unrest. And despite formal talks taking place between the opposition and the government, there have still been more calls for demonstrations across the nation. Let's run through the main developments of Monday. Hosni Mubarak held his first full-fledged cabinet meeting. No major decisions were taken, but A 15% salary increase for government employees was announced, and the president sacked his old cabinet a little over a week ago. The protests, however, are going on. These are the scenes in Cairo's Liberation Square, Tahrir Square as it's known. Earlier on Monday night, there have been calls for another mass march on Tuesday. But there are mounting concerns among some of these pro-democracy protesters that their numbers are now dwindling. Meanwhile, a senior Google executive, Wael Ghonim, was released on Monday. This video was uploaded to YouTube. It claims to show the moment that he was captured. That was on January the 28th. Now, many people in Egypt are hoping that the worst is over and that the country can slowly get back to work as normal. But just how bad did things get? New video has emerged of some of the most extreme violence that took place in Egypt's capital last week. Here's Andrew Simmons.
We've verified the locations and the timings of these pictures. They relate to last Wednesday when pro-Mubarak supporters attacked anti-government demonstrators. The pictures were taken at night. And I have to warn you, you may find many of these images disturbing. A crowd of anti-government protesters surrounding a pro-Mubarak supporters bus that had driven at speed into their number earlier. It's late last Wednesday night. They try to turn the vehicle over, ripping open the driver's door. There's no escape. Here, the driver's already being pulled out, and he's being lynched. From these pictures, it appears no one else was on the bus, but we can't verify that, and the fate of the driver is unknown. The frenzy of anger continues right through the night into the early hours of Thursday. Across the bridge, pro-Mubarak supporters on the move again, seemingly intent on more confrontation. But it all goes wrong. A mob of anti-government protesters swelling in numbers and showing no mercy. Each of the 9 men are attacked. Revenge for the earlier violence in which many of their numbers were killed. Hatred. While some of the men are led away, beaten as they go, another was singled out. It hasn't been possible to establish how many victims of this night lived or died. This was all filmed by a European cameraman. He says 14 minutes later, there was yet another dimension to the violence. Gunfire on the bridge aimed at anti-government protesters. A laser picks out individuals. This round finds its target. It can't be established at this stage who fired these shots, just as it isn't possible to identify victims or their attackers. The questions over last Wednesday night, Thursday morning, linger. There's yet to be an investigation into these attacks, and official figures on deaths and casualties appear inaccurate. It may never be known exactly how many people died on Wednesday and Thursday morning of last week.
Now, some 8 million people in South Sudan have been told they'll soon be living in a new country. The official results have confirmed what nearly 99% of the voters already knew, that they've chosen to split from the country's north in January's referendum. The celebrations have begun already, but as Harun Mutasa reports, there are also some concerns about the future.
It was expected most Southerners would vote to separate from the North, but the overwhelming numbers of people who did so is amazing for people here in the South. It just shows how desperately and how urgently people here have wanted to split, and they voted for secession. The main hope for the people is that perhaps if they govern themselves, they will be able to develop a region that they feel has been neglected for many, many decades by officials in the North. It's going to be a huge challenge, a huge task for officials. Time may be against them. People here have high expectations. They want schools, they want hospitals, they want basic services like running water. This takes money, this takes help from the international community, but generally officials here are saying that they will do their best. They know they have a mammoth task ahead of them, and they're saying that with the support of the people, with the patience of the people, they hope that these outcomes can be achieved. On Monday night, there will be celebrations here in the South. People are already celebrating. It's a momentous occasion. It's a historic occasion, but on the back of everyone's mind, they know that the road ahead will not be easy.
Now, the WikiLeaks founder, Julian Assange, has been in court in the UK once again, fighting extradition to Sweden, where he's been accused of sexual assault. His defense lawyer believes that he'll face a flagrant denial of justice if the extradition request is granted. Lawrence Lee reports.
Arriving at court, Julian Assange looked relaxed and less tense than he sometimes does, surrounded by high-profile celebrities, human rights supporters, and urged on by a group of young protesters who see the dark hand of the CIA behind this rape case. His team had tried to steal a march on the prosecutors by publishing his defence against the allegations online, all very WikiLeaks, and they sought to dismantle the extradition